everyone, in this lesson of my free beginner course I'm going to teach you a beautiful melody by Pracht, and with that you're going to get used to the low second finger playing in C major, you're going to learn slurs, and you are going to develop your dynamics and tone production a bit. If you're thinking, who are you and what's this all about? I'm Zlata, I'm a professional violinist and stay-at-home mom sharing her art and skill online in this free beginner course that's going to take you from scratch to your first violin concerto and beyond. And I don't know how far I will take this course. If enough people subscribe and like, then that encourages me to make more. Otherwise, yeah, it's maybe just not interesting and I will stop it or something. If you've missed the previous lessons of this course, then just follow this link and you can download the sheet music for free at violinlessonsforfree.com. You can sign up there, and I also put this in sound slides so you can play along with the piano, with the violin, with violin and piano. You can loop it, you can slow it down, speed it up, practice with metronome, whatever you want, then the link is also there. But first I'm going to play this song for you with piano accompaniment. And here is a slow play-along version that's probably coming in handy as you're practicing this. I want you to learn the notes of this song. So I want you to play it through in the way that we've learned in the warming up exercise in lesson 12. So I want you to warm up with that C major scale, and then I want you to use the same practice strategy as we had with those scales in the warming up, so that you first just play the notes to have them in tune and with a good sound, but make them as long as you need and repeat them as many times as you need. So really get that E in tune. So don't mind the rhythm at all when you're doing this. Don't mind slurs. So go through the whole song like that. Okay, the next step are the slurs. And a slur just means that you play several notes on one bow stroke. So for example, you see that slur above the first two notes, so the E and the F. And it means that you play them and go on like that. And then the timing is really important. So you have to put your finger down at the right time. Okay, so just got my kids off their piano. To get the timing of the slur right and really play it rhythmically, I want you to stop at every note. So down bow, stop the bow, put down the second finger and be very aware of the bow direction. This is hard because you have been practicing to play one note, one bow stroke, and now it's different. So stop. And then in the second bar we have, so you have three notes on one slur, but the bow division is, because it's 1/4 note, 2/8 note. So you want to have half bow for the first note and you want to practice it with stops. And go through the whole song like that. Now, you've got the intonation right, you've got the sound right, you've got the bowing right. Now we've gone already a long way, so I want you to practice it really slowly. And when you've got the basics of this song right, then you can worry about the tempo and the dynamics. So first I want you to follow these steps and be able to play the song actually in quite a decent way. Then you can start adding the other things, because you now have the space in your focus, because you're already playing the song kind of fluently. Alright, we want to start softly, and if you are increasing the tempo gradually, then you use less and less bow, okay? So you don't need a whole bow for this, only when you are playing it really slowly. So let's go through the song. And then we have a crescendo, so we use more bow and more weight, like we've learned in the previous lesson with the morning prayer. So again, with those proportions that we had, so the weight and the bow speed, so actually how much bow you use. You can also, for a beautiful piano, tilt your bow a little bit. So tilt your bow a little bit in the direction of the scroll, and then you have less hairs on the string and you're playing softer. Also, you can experiment with the contact point. So if you play near the fingerboard, you automatically play softer versus near the bridge. So experiment with those things. And then we get back to something similar. Again a crescendo. And what I want you to do is, we have that note of 3 counts there, that you don't play the quarter note after that. So this is kind of closing it, and then you see mezzo forte, and a lot of people go like. Try to see the mezzo forte on the D in the beginning of the next bar. So try to play that up bow subtly, and it's going to be loud relatively anyway, because you need to go back to the frog. We had this long note of 3 counts, and in 1 count you have to go back to where you want to bow. So don't put in too much weight there. And it's also a kind of an upbeat. The emphasis should be on the D. So we don't want. We want 1, 2, 3, and then that's a 4. You want want to practice this transition separately because a lot of things are happening there in bow division and in dynamics, and you need to find out for your violin and your playing and your bow exactly what the contact point is, how much weight you are using, how much bow you are using, if you're tilting the bow or not. If you have tilted the bow, then for a mezzo forte you might want to put all the hair back again. So many things in this seemingly simple song that take your time to put all that together. And now you will notice why it's so important that you've learned to read on autopilot, that you've learned to put the intonation, the notes and the slurs kind of on autopilot, that all goes fluently, that you don't have to worry too much about that. If you are still in the stage, and this can take maybe weeks, maybe months, just let it take as much time as you need. Then go back to the previous step. So don't struggle with all these different things at the same time. You can do a lot of things at the same time, and we do that in violin playing. A lot of things are going on, but we can only learn one thing at a time. So you must learn all these different aspects in order to automate them and then eventually put them together. So I'm going to start in the upbeat of bar 9. And now we're going to slow down a bit and we play really loud because we have a crescendo from the mezzo forte. And what you'll notice here, that if you don't want the E string to squeak there, is not to use as much weight on the E string as you did on the D string. So that's a really important thing to look out for here. In terms of fingering, bar 10, fourth finger, so you can stay on the A string and you avoid the string crossing. And then bar 11, we continue on the E string, so you can do an open E there. And those lines above the notes mean that you have to play broadly, so a lot of bow. And you'll notice that the piano accompaniment also slowed down a little bit, so you have time for that also. And difficult thing here is that you have to go to piano instantly. Classical music, that always helps to do a funny face there. Now, how you actually do it is that you release the weight instantly from your bow and that you use a little bow speed, so you use less bow, and you take a little bit of a pause because something new is starting. It's normal if you're telling a story and you're getting really excited and then you're saying something sweet, that you have this transition. You can't do it like a bam bam or something. We are not machines, and it's not nice to listen to that. So you want one section or paragraph or whatever of something to end, and then okay, there's something new. You're telling a story with your music. So again, to a beautiful piano. Do a fourth finger there. You don't want something like that. Okay, you want to stay on that A string. And then crescendo, decrescendo. And we have something weird here. We have a crescendo when doing down bow. And you might have noticed that the bow, if you play a down bow, you naturally have decrescendo. So it goes from loud to soft. And when you have an up bow, it goes from soft to loud. Okay? You hear that my cats are very excited about dynamics. So what you want to do is that you do a very exaggerated crescendo and decrescendo, because you want to first compensate for your bow and then you have to add on top of that the crescendo and decrescendo. Okay? So that's quite difficult actually. Then subtle retake. We learned the retakes in the previous lesson. Beginning melody. Nothing new. And you might want to little bit and then make an exaggerated decrescendo on that last note, because you want to make a beautiful ending to that song. So again, to make the transition. Okay, well, you will hear me say this like 1,000 times, but practice this slowly with a lot of love and attention for the details, for every note. So make sure first that every note is in tune, that it sounds good, and then slowly start to put all these things together. Now I have to go because it's lunchtime with my kids, but next lesson I'm going to teach you to switch between the low and high second finger in the 2-octave G major scale, and that gets us a lot closer to playing our first violin concerto. So I hope to see you in that next lesson. Make sure to subscribe and like, so I know these videos are useful to people, and then I can continue them, because yeah, I like to make them, but it needs to be useful to you. So happy practicing. If there are questions, leave them in the comments below. See you next time. Bye bye.